We want you to adore the contrast. We all do. Some of you might say, well, sure, Abraham, you adore our contrast. Our contrast on which you get expansion. I think I get why you would like our contrast. We do. But we've come to help you like it too. We want you to understand that when contrast causes that expansion, that the most joyful experience of life, whether it is us living it or you living it, is moving into that new expansion. And we do it fast and quick. We do it instantaneously, and you can too. You don't have to linger in a justifying attitude. You don't have to explain to anyone why you would prefer that over this. But you do have to stop beating the drum of what you do not want, which was the catalyst that gave birth to the expanded version of you. We have a piece of knowledge that we also want you to have, and that is, while you are the creator of the physical trappings that surround you, you are the creator, attractor of every bit of that. The most important thing that we want you to understand is that you are the creator of you. And you are more than the you that you have been taking credit for. You are the creator of the expansion of that which is you. Now, don't get us wrong. We're in this together. In other words, the non-physical version of you is in on this too. But you are the pioneer. You're out here on the leading edge. You're sifting through the big time contrast, and you're coming to the new conclusions. And when you do, we choose the new conclusion that you have arrived at while you linger. And it is our desire that instead of lingering over there in the out of the vortex dumb, that you come with us, that you come more readily, that you tune yourself to the frequency of who you really are, that you tune yourself to the frequency of your furthest most expanded conclusions and desires, so that you can, while you're in these physical bodies, live the exhilaration of keeping up with who life is causing you to become. The balance of your planet is in good hands. So we're not having this conversation because your world needs to be saved, or your planet is in peril, or you'll be in trouble if you don't hear this. You're all doing just fine. It's all working out great. Really, it is. With one small exception, and that is you as humans are not nearly as joyful as you meant to be. Not nearly as joyful as you meant to be. You said, I am source energy. A part of me will come forth. I will explore contrast, and I will come to new decisions. And when a new decision is born out of me, I will feel the birthing of it and a momentary feeling of enthusiasm. And then I will use all of my determination and my willpower and my ability to focus in the direction of my newfound expansion. And I will train myself into the frequency of that until that is my normal vibrational offering. And I know that law of attraction, as it always does, will wrap itself around me with cooperative components that are equivalent to the vibrational stance that I learn and practice and achieve. That's what you said. And you said, and the best part of it. Let's see, what's the best part? Being born? No, not really. Sifting through the contrast? No, not really. Giving birth to a rocket? Maybe, but not so much. The very best part of it is having expanded and knowing that I've expanded, because I can feel that I'm not up to speed with my expansion, and then doing something about changing my thought until I get in the groove of the expansion, and then feeling myself be drawn by law of attraction into the cooperative component of the vortex of creation. That's the best part, you said, again and again. And you know that because you're always looking for adventure. You love that thrill of coming into alignment. You adore the feeling of relief. You tense and agonize against negative stuff. In other words, you know that you want to feel good. The reason that you want every single thing that you want, there's no one who wants anything for any other reason than that they believe they will feel better in the having of it. And we want you to understand that it's not the having of the thing. It's not the having of the girl. It's not the having of the boy. It's not the having of the relationship. It's not the having of the car or the empire or the job or the money. It's not the having of those things that you are creating that makes you happy. It's the having of the vibrational alignment with who you are. A woman said to us one day, Abraham, my lover left and now I'm sad. And we said, no, you're not. And she said, to be clear, my lover left and now I am very sad. And we said, no, you're not. People don't always speak what they're thinking. But what she was thinking is, you crazy ghost. Can't you hear what I'm saying? I was not sad. Then my lover left. Now I'm sad. I'm sad because my lover left. But we wanted her to understand, all sadness comes from holding yourself apart from the most expanded version of you. In other words, we wanted to explain to her that that relationship had caused her to create a vibrational version of a relationship, and that as she was focusing upon this man walking out of her life, she was focused in opposition to this relationship that she had carved out. That man was never the lover of her dreams. He was just a temporary filler for the lover of her dreams. But the reason she was sad, nevertheless, was not because he had walked out the door. She was just using his exit as her excuse to not be a vibrational match to who she is. You have the ability, no matter what, to focus yourself out of sadness. The reason that so often you don't believe that you can do that is because law of attraction has been active in your life. And if you've been beating the drum of something, law of attraction's been surrounding you with more things like that. So when you get going on something, and it's a far cry, a far vibrational cry from who you really are and all that you've expanded to, you feel bad. And then you begin making a sort of art of feeling bad. You email friends about how bad you feel today. You blog about it. You talk to your friends about it. You think about it. Someone said to us, it feels like my thoughts are thinking me. It doesn't feel like I have any control over my thoughts. I try to think more positive thoughts, but I just keep going back and going back and going back. And that's really what we're going to talk about here today. We want to show you how, if you stop doing that thing you do that's holding you apart from who you are, you'll move easily back to who you are. You don't have to. In fact, it's not even possible. It's certainly not a good idea to take something that's really bothering you, and in the middle of it really bothering you, try to talk about it in a shiny, brighter, fluffier way. Because the more you try to do that, the more it will just backlash, and the more you will defend your negative position. We want you to understand that just like the cork will bob on the surface of the water, oh, you can hold it under the water, but when you let go, it will bob right back up there. We want you to understand that you will bob right back into your vortex when you cease beating the drum of things that hold you in a resistant vibrational attitude. So you have the idea of this. You sense that we are calling this vibrational state of being where all that you have become has assembled with all cooperative components. And we are referring to this as your vortex of attraction, your vortex of creation. This vibrational environment where the future manifested version of you and your life resides. But when we stand in this vortex, knowing that version that you've put there, it's not future for us, because we're vibration, it's vibration, we see it clearly, it's now. It is present tense. What's in your vortex, what you've expanded to, is present tense. You know how you're here today, and there are people in Hawaii, there are people in Hong Kong and Australia, and they're all calling it a different time. Some of them are even calling it a different day. The Australians think it's tomorrow. But even though all of that is true, it's all right now. It's all right now. It's all right now. If you call them on the telephone, you're going to have a now conversation. Well, there's a little lag time. few seconds. Real time is happening now. Now. What we want to help you to feel in the way we know it to be is that this vortex of creation is now. It's now. Your financial abundance is now. Your physical well-being is now. The relationship of your dreams is now. It's now. And when you try to find the feeling of that, what does it feel like in my prosperous world? What does it feel like in my vital and healthy body? What does it feel like in my relationship that wraps around me and through me as the two of us expand together? What does that feel like? As you reach for the now feeling of that, then you are present tense too. And we just want you to know, you practice that present tense until it is most dominant. You practice that present tense feeling of relief and exhilaration and adventure. You practice that present tense, real time, vibrational feeling that emanates an emotion of well-being within you. You practice that and make it your own. And those manifestations must become instantaneous, real time too. By law, it must be. It's easier for us because we stand in the vibrational realm. And we have a longer memory also. We know that everything that you see around you that is already manifested was a vibrational creation first. And so vibration has been present tense reality for us for so long that we just don't get it why you ever worry when you've launched a rocket about anything, because it's for sure it's going to happen. It's for sure it's going to happen. But there are so many people that hold themselves in a vibrational tension of unworthiness or unhappiness that they prevent themselves from being the vibrational match to it, so they don't get to be there where the manifestation is. They deprive themselves of their own dramatic and powerful creation. But you are here wanting to be deliberate creators. And we want you to be deliberate creators, because creating by default is no fun at all. Oh, you create. You can't help it. You sift through contrast, you launch rockets, the larger part of you becomes it, and the next version of you born into physical will embody it. In other words, you get to continue to expand. But it was your plan to do it real time. And it was our plan to remind you of that. So, the only difference worth mentioning between you as you abide here in your physical body and your inner being who dwells in this non-physical vortex of creation, the only difference worth mentioning between the physical you and the non-physical you is that the non-physical you has trained itself vibrationally to the point that there is no resistance present in the energy that would be discernible by you. Now, we qualified that just a bit because there's contrast in everything, and there are two sides to every wave. We're just telling you that the non-physical wave doesn't have the dips and swings in it that the physical wave does. That's why we label you leading edge. You're sifting through greater contrast, but as a result of that, you're coming to bigger conclusions. You're making more happen through the life that you're living. Now, we come forth to visit with you because you've summoned us in your wanting to understand how all of this works, not because you need to know what we're going to talk about here today in order for this continuum of eternal life to continue to progress perfectly. It will do that whether you know what you're going to come to know today or not. In other words, you're going to sift through contrast because you can't help it. And you're going to know what you don't want because you can't help it. And you're going to give birth to rockets of desire about what you would prefer because you can't help that. In other words, these are the natural consequences of sifting through contrast in a leading edge environment. All of that is going to take place whether you understand what we're going to talk about here today or not.